Hello! Today I'm going to show you how to size your radiators correctly, because believe it or not, it's just not a case of measuring the width, measuring the height and hoping for the best. We want to size our rads correctly to heat the room efficiently. So let's get stuck into it, shall we? Whether you're replacing just one radiator or every single radiator in your house, you need to size that correctly. So how we do that is firstly, we just take a measurement of the room. So you can either get your tape measure out, or if you're a little bit fancier like me, you can use the digital one. Take the length, the width, and the height of every room that you're going to be replacing the radiator. Write them down on a piece of paper because that is going to come in handy later. So once you've got your measurements of the length, the width, and the height, there's a few more things that we need to factor in. And that's things like windows, French doors, are they double glazed, single glazed, and what the floor's like. So like in here, we've got a solid floor, so we know that. And these are things that you need to jot down. Now, a great tip that I would say is if you can, get a floor plan out from your house, whether you've bought it recently or if you can find any floor plans from the stages previously. This really helps out because it gives you clarity on what room you're in. A lot of the time they have the dimensions there anyway, so that helps. It saves you a bit of a job. And you can write down, where you're putting the radiators, especially if you're having an engineer fit it. You can jot down where you want the radiators and what rad belongs to what room, etc. So something like this. I've been very fortunate here because the couple have just bought the house, so they were able to send me the floor plans, which has saved me a lovely job because it has all the measurements there. I've printed out on a nice bit of A3 bit of paper just to show you guys, make this super clear. But if you haven't got something like this, then obviously just make a list naming the different rooms. You've got lounge, kitchen, bathroom, study, bedroom 1, etc. Because you're going to need to know what rooms require what heat, because believe it or not, different rooms do require different heat, especially in this case. Like you see, it's north facing. A lot of the north facing rooms are going to be colder than the south facing rooms, obviously to do with the sun there, so they're going to require a bit more heat. So you got something like this, you're just not going to miss anything. Like these French doors here, which are here, I'm not going to forget about them, and we're just going to make note of all the windows, etc. Now, the only thing I'm going to go with, if you've got awkward rooms, now this is like obviously a nice rectangular room. If you've got awkward rooms where there's sort of like a little bit of what I would say to do is just square that off, because this little corner here, I mean, we're not too worried about that. Just a little bit of a tip there just to make your life a little bit easier. So another thing that we want to jot down is measuring the maximum space that we want our radiator to fit in. So for example, we want to take a maximum height that we'd like our radiator to fit in the gap. So you do that by sort of measuring the underside of the window board and going, yep, I kind of like maximum here is 700 radiator in height. And you can measure the maximum width. So here, for example, I know that I really don't want to be going any further than 1200 millimeters in width. So we can jot that down, and that's going to help us later when choosing our radiators. Another thing to remember is to measure the depth of how far you would like your radiator to stick out from the wall. It's important, especially if you've got furniture going up against it like this one has, that you don't stick out too far. So as we go around room to room, taking measurements like I am in the kitchen here, there's a few more things that we need to remember. Firstly, we need to measure the windows, so the width and the height, and what they're made of. Are they double glazed? Same with things like back doors, taking the width and height measurement of that. And then there's a few other things that we need to write down, and that's things like external and internal walls. So obviously on this side here, we have an external wall, and to the right of me here, we have the internal wall. Now this wall backs onto the living room, and that's something that we need to write down. So make sure you jot down all this information, as this is going to help you on the rad sizer, which I'll show you later. So you can see now with my floor plan, it makes things very clear as to where the windows are, what sizes they are, things like internal, external walls. It makes things a lot easier. So if you can get hold of one of these, it's great. So now you can see I've taken my measurements everywhere. So there's only one thing left for me to do, and that's take all our new trusty information that we've worked so hard to collect, go home, jump on ukradiators.com and check out the rad sizer, which is going to help us select exactly what radiator we need in the right places. So let's go.